everybody is strongly sleeping on Bonanza. Now, when I first heard about Bonanza like 5-6 years ago, I'm pretty sure you had to sign up to a subscription plan for the shop to actually use Bonanza and sell on the platform with no promise of sales, no promise of success. And I hadn't really heard of anybody that was actually selling well on this platform, and therefore it wasn't worth testing it out for like $50 a month subscription when I wasn't sure it was going to work for me. Well, I stumbled back upon it recently, and you no longer need to pay the subscription for a shop. You can upload here 100% free. On top of that, when you do upload products here, they'll actually run ads, Google shopping ads for you. They don't cost you any money. Only after you make the sale do they take a small portion of your profit. So it's all upside and no downside risk, assuming you're marking your products up enough to potentially account for the Google shopping ad percentage. And most importantly, if you have products up on another marketplace already, for example, if you're an Etsy seller or you dropship on Etsy already, well, you can automatically sync whatever shop you have on whatever website to Bonanza super quickly with minimal effort on your part, and then just let your products sit up there. They'll run Google shopping ads to them. It doesn't take any of your effort or any of your time, and if you make sales, it's 100% profit. It's all upside. So as you can see, here are two examples of products up on the screen that I sold recently, and typically this is what I'll see on Bonanza. Selling on Bonanza will definitely not make you a millionaire, but again, it's free sales for no effort and profit that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten if your products weren't up here. And typically what I see on this platform is I don't sell as much, but when I do sell, it's typically higher ticket stuff, at least $100 or more, to account for the Google shopping ads, or at least that's how it's been in my experience. So the first example of a product here, you can see on Bonanza, I sold these round mirrors, these brushed nickel round mirrors, two of them, grand total of $911. I bought both of these on Amazon, right? Nothing special here, drop shipping from Amazon. The same exact mirrors for $418. So that is a profit, if we just take the whole numbers here, of $493. That's over double, right? So I spent $418 to make $493 back. And when you get paid on Bonanza, it comes directly to your PayPal ahead of time, so you don't need to front the money. I know a lot of people, like when I used to teach a lot of Facebook Marketplace all the time, would be like, yeah, you're technically not getting the money up front because you do actually need to front the money for the sale, and then you don't get compensated back for like 2 weeks when Facebook pays you. That is not the case on Bonanza. It's a lot like eBay used to be, when you'd get the PayPal up front ahead of time, and then you can go use that money to buy the product on whatever platform. Here's another example of a pretty solid profit margin I had recently. So this heavy duty clothing rack, $147, and you can see, again, nothing special. Sourced this on Amazon for $73.97. So that is a profit of $74, literally double. $74 is what I made for spending $74. This is a revolutionary website that is a no-brainer to list on. So like I said before, you can integrate your other marketplaces and other inventory from other websites onto Bonanza automatically. As you can see here, the Amazon import, the eBay import, the Etsy import, the Shopify import. If, for example, you have a Facebook shop connected to a Shopify account with tens of thousands of products, it's a no-brainer. Or if, for example, you have a CSV from Facebook Marketplace or Facebook Shops, or for example, if you have like a Wix store or something along those lines, then you can export a CSV file of your products, upload it here automatically, and then again, they'll just sit here. Bonanza will run Google shopping ads to them. And if you make sales, you make free profit that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten for no effort. And that's one of my favorite parts about this, because you can literally tomorrow, or sometimes it takes like a day or two if they're verifying some of your inventory, but fairly quickly have thousands or tens of thousands of products up on Bonanza and be making money relatively fast. So you can, again, import and automatically integrate your inventory from other places, or you can also upload manually. So you just want to go to add or edit items. I would say if you're just new to Bonanza, then automatically sync up your inventory from another place. And then once you start getting some traction, some sales, it'll inspire you to manually list. Now, I don't have a VA that's dedicated specifically to listing on Bonanza. What I'll typically do is, if one of my VAs gets done for the day, already listing on Mercari or already listing on Poshmark or Facebook Marketplace or wherever, and they have some extra time for that day, then I'll just have them list a bunch of stuff on Bonanza that's already working on other marketplaces prices for me manually. So for example, if coolers are selling really well for me on Poshmark, we'll list a bunch of coolers on Bonanza. If power tool batteries or power tools are selling really well for me on Mercari, well, we'll list a bunch of power tools on Bonanza. And that's typically what I do, and that's been working relatively well for me. Now, again, like I said, selling here, listing here is not gonna make you a millionaire, but you will see that you'll get sales, and always try to list higher ticket things, $50 or more, ideally $100 or more, just so when you do get those Google Shopping ads, there's still margin to be had. So listing here is just like any other platform, right? You can list from any supplier, assuming you can get a legitimate tracking number, and then input that into the transaction for the customer. On Bonanza, you can drop ship directly to the customer, again, assuming you're getting a legitimate tracking number. So you, just like anything else, want to copy the title. I'm also going to just download the main pictures with the click of a button because I have Z-Drop. If you want Z-Drop, it's a highly recommended tool for drop shippers that are doing retail drop shipping. It's always linked in the description with a discount code. I think it's like 12 bucks a month. It's a no-brainer. We're going to paste that title in there. On Bonanza specifically, you're only allowed 80 characters. So we're going to take out a bunch of these to make sure it's under that. We're going to add the photos. Then you'll see that as you scroll down, you can search through the categories to pick the exact category if you want. But oftentimes, if you just, I would say like 90% or more of the time, I'll just have it let it guess my category, and it's typically very good at finding them. So as you can see here, home and garden, walkway lights. Sometimes it'll give you multiple suggestions and you can pick the best one. This is pretty much saying like it knows what it is, and that's a good thing. Then you want to select the condition. You can put some item specs in here if you want, if you know the color or if you know the size of it or certain dimensions of it, then you can add them in there. I rarely do that. I always tell my VAs to mark it up to 10 quantity just because it's so much faster to just add a 0 rather than change it. And when we're doing bulk listing, it's all about speed of each listing, and that's so fast. But the quantity doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. You can make that 3, 5, 100, it doesn't really matter. Now we're gonna take the description. Now, just like drop shipping on every other platform, on Bonanza, you wanna make sure that you're reading the description from your supplier to make sure that there's no third-party information about that brand, no money-back guarantees, no warranty information, or anything of the sort. Now, on Amazon specifically, that's typically in the last bullet point. As you can see here, if you have any questions, we will also blah, 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 contact us in the 24 hours. So I'm not gonna take that part. I'm gonna skip that part, and I'm gonna take everything else. Paste that in the description. And now you come down to the shipping. Now you can charge for shipping if you want. I found that in my experience, at least, free shipping on Bonanza works better. We're gonna go economy, 1 to 10 business days, but obviously the majority of these are gonna show up in like 2 to 3 if it's Amazon, maybe up to 10 if it's like a longer Amazon shipping time, but rarely is that the case. Again, I do not, if I'm drop shipping directly to a customer using Amazon, I do not use Amazon Prime, but you are allowed to use Amazon without Prime to drop ship to your customers. I know some other people are saying that you can't. You can, trust me, I've done it like tens of thousands of times. You can get away with it as long as it's not a Prime account. It's actually within the terms of service to do that. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna go worldwide. If you're selling Shopify products or you've integrated with like your Shopify store and you're selling from somewhere like AliExpress where you can ship worldwide, then you might wanna offer that. I am not, since my supplier here is Amazon. And now the list price. So I typically on Bonanza will mark my products up like 60% just to make sure that there's a decent margin. Sometimes I'll mark them up 80% or even double, depending on, you know, if I think I can get away with it, as you saw with the 2 other ones that are a little bit more high ticket, because things like furniture or mirrors, for example, or bookcases, like it's a lot of times a subjective decision of whether it's worth like $100 or like $700. And so those are typically, if you know how to price them, things that you can get away with like doubling the price or sometimes even more. For this one, I would probably, if I was telling my VAs to go through a bunch of listings, I'd say mark everything up 60%. So if you wanted to do that, since you do have to copy manually and mark up manually on Bonanza here, I would take 31 because that's the price, and I'd multiply it by 1.6 to mark it up 60%. 49.60, so we'd go 49.95 just because I kind of like the way that that looks, is the list price, and then you'd add it to your shop. And that's how easy it is to list the Bonanza manually, right? So your VAs can roll through this and list a bunch of listings relatively quickly. But again, the allure here is that if you have previous inventory on another place already, it automatically syncs up for you. So you can be listing tens of thousands of products or hundreds or thousands, depending on how much you have, up on Bonanza so fast. And then, of course, they're gonna run Google Shopping ads to your listings. So if you make sales, and only if you make sales, do they take a small percentage of that sales profit. It's a no-brainer. Test it out.